There we go. I am Kate Wolf, founder of Spirited Business and creator of our beautiful group here, Highly Sensitive, Wildly Successful. Apologies for being a little bit late with our mesmerizing session today. I am mid-cleanse, mid-detox, and oh my goodness, am I feeling it? I'm just having to be very slow. Very slow. So that is why I was a little late joining you today. But what I want to talk about is the truth about desires. So yesterday inside Mesmerize, my year-long program, we had a wild voice session and we dove deep into the truth about desires. And a lot of my clients are like deeply spiritual, you know, as am I. It's a really important part of how I live. It really is a baseline place that I come from and that most of my clients come from, that, you know, we believe that there's more, right? There's more than meets the eye. And what can happen in spiritual communities is there can be a judgment around having more money, pricing higher, and this belief that just enough should be okay, right? That's what spiritual is, that it's spiritual to live a very bare minimum life and just get by. Now, what unveiled itself during this Wild Voice session, where every month we get to hear a cacophony of true voices, tuned in voices, the kinds of sharings that come when we're allowing ourselves to be completely unedited, knowing that it's a safe space that those words are going to land in. And what came forth was all these desires for more. And my perspective, my personal perspective on spirituality is there is nothing more spiritual than being a full expression of who you came here to be. And that cannot sever off your desires. It cannot be true that everything about who you are is intended and beautiful, except for your desires. Your desires are leading you off places, right? Your desires you need to quell. That cannot be the equation. Instead, I believe that our desires lead us to be more of who we are. Sometimes we worry that when we have dreams of speaking to bigger audiences or speaking from stages or writing books, that it's the ego, right? And I believe the inverse is true, that those true desires are messages, they're whispers from spirit about who we're meant to grow into, and that not doing them, not following them, comes from that, this, you know, the smaller egoic place of, oh gosh, what will other people think? And who am I to think I could have anything to say that people will be interested in? That is the ego. The direction, the trajectory you see for yourself, you speaking to bigger groups, having your words listened to and valued, that, if they are indeed true desires for you, that is messages about who you came here to be. And there's nothing spiritual about not following them and severing off your desires and pricing low because you think that's what the market can hold. It's what the groups of people you currently speak to are charging themselves, and then making do, getting by, squishing yourself into a life that is too small for who you are. That is not the definition of spirituality, and we need to give that up. What if being spiritual meant being who you are? What if that's all it meant? Being who you came here to be and living in accordance with that. Treating those desires as whispers from spirit and following them. I know that when I was living that life, right, of being the yoga teacher, of being the intuitive energy healer, very much living hand to mouth, like doing a lot of traveling, having a lot of fun, doing Reiki sessions on the beach, earning just enough from teaching yoga sessions and doing Reiki to afford my next pad thai in my bungalow over my head that night. A lot of fun. And that decade of working as a yoga teacher and intuitive energy healer was a wonderful time of my life. And there came a point when it was ultimately unfulfilling, because it was no longer fulfilling all of who I then knew myself to be. There weren't expression outlets for the other parts of me. The spiritual part, yeah. The intuitive part, yeah. But not the really intelligent part, not the academic part, not the business acumen part. And as I've allowed myself to grow, to stretch into those edges of me, expand my own idea of who I am, the journey has become exquisitely fulfilling. So that is my invitation to you today, is to pay attention to those desires. The way we got here to this point, talking about desires in the World Voice session yesterday with my clients, was via a discussion on sales and money. And if you're not earning the kind of money that you want, this might be part of what's happening. You might be saying no to yourself, right? Never mind the no from the other person on the sales call. You might be saying no to yourself about your true desires, about allowing yourself to have the kind of life you truly want. And if you're saying no to yourself a lot, then it's unsurprising if you're getting no's from other people. And what happens is, when we start saying more yeses to ourselves, the energy shifts. And suddenly we start attracting people into our world who can afford our services. And sometimes it's exactly the same people as it was before, but because our energy has shifted, in conversation with us, in dialogue with us, their energy can shift too, and they get to sense, this is someone with whom, if I spent more time learning from, being with, they could radically change my life because of the energy that you're emitting, the energy you're putting out, the energy you're standing in and speaking from. And it starts with living a life that is in integrity with who you are, so you can stand up with no fears of how other people might see you, because you know who you are. So I'm going to keep it super short for today, because part of my desires, one of my desires, is to be radiantly healthy. And so I'm doing this detox that I mentioned at the beginning, and I can just feel that everything's just a little bit harder. So for myself, for my own self-care, I'm going to keep this nice and short today. I'll pop in later and have a look and respond to your comments. And if one of your desires is to be speaking on bigger stages, is to feel more comfortable in your body as you speak about your work, is to be able to create that moment in an audience when you could hear a pin drop because everyone is so transfixed, then make sure you pop what I'm about to tell you about in your diaries, because from the 28th of February, I am holding a 5-day training called Mesmerize the Room. And you are going to want to be there. Is speaking on bigger stages, having bigger paydays, daring to stand up and stand out with bolder perspectives are some of your desires. So I will see you next week, same time, same place. And then from the 28th of February, I'll be going live with trainings, really high quality, in-depth trainings, interactive. You're going to want to come with your notebook from midday Monday UK all through that week, starting the 28th of February. And you're going to learn how you can mesmerize the room. All right, lots of love and bye for now.